Blah blah vampire emergency blah.
Animalphax. One late evening, I was constructing a sandwich in my kitchen when I heard someone softly rapping on my door. I wasn't expecting any company, so I was mildly irritated. Leaving my creation behind, I went to see who it was, and there, hunched under my portico, stood a large man with sickly complexion, draped in a black satin cape. His hair was slicked back, completely flattened against the curvature of his skull, and his smile curled upwards to punctuate his obscenely large canines. In short, he looked like the very definition of a vampire. This eccentricity felt more endearing than off-putting, and I was thoroughly engaged by this encounter. He briefly introduced himself as someone who just moved into the neighborhood and asked to be invited in for a friendly chat. I saw through this classic ruse, so I played along and told him no. Refusing to leave, he asked if he could just come inside and use my restroom real quick. I told him that depends. Depends on what, he asked. Depends on whether or not you're a vampire. The pale man's eyes went wide as he began to stammer and deny the accusation. As I was about to tell him that I was only joking and that he could come in, the visitor suddenly morphed into a bat and flew across the night sky. I breathed a sigh of relief, realizing I dodged a bullet. Next night, the vampire came over to apologize for leaving so abruptly the other day, as if I didn't see him turn into a bat in the middle of our conversation. So I told him exactly that. He looked pensive, as if he thought I was trying to trick him into confessing he's a vampire. So I took a picture of him. He asked me what I was doing and I showed him my phone. He said he couldn't see anything, and I told him exactly. Vampires can't be photographed, I reminded him. Embarrassed, he turned into a horde of spiders and scurried away in the shadows. He returned the night after as if nothing happened. I respected his tenacity. This time he told me he saw an intruder break in through my back door and that I should let him in so we could deal with the criminal together. I just held up a crucifix and he hissed like a deranged cat before turning into a puff of smoke. A week later, I had some people over for potluck dinner and my vampire neighbor somehow got wind of it. As soon as the sun set, he brought over a packet of ground beef and a fork, as if I was meant to eat it like a boxed lunch. Still, I appreciated his gesture and made small talks with him by the entrance while dodging his pleas for an invitation. At some point, he tried to convince me to come outside because he wanted to show me something. I asked him what it was, but he only gave vague descriptors like something fang-tastic and a blood-curdling surprise, so I politely declined. It was apparent to me that the vampire couldn't resist making puns, even at the expense of his poorly conceived hunt. I was starting to enjoy these encounters, but I could tell that the vampire was growing impatient. One day, I woke up from a nap to the smell of smoke sweeping across my room. I went downstairs and saw that my house was on fire, and there was an unmistakable stench of gasoline. As I got ready to leave, I heard a knock on my door and had a notion of what to expect. The vampire stood just beyond the edge of the flame that stretched across the foyer with a single cup of water held daintily in his fingers. He told me he was here to help put out the fire, and that I should let him inside. When I realized that he set my house on fire just so I'd be compelled to invite him in, I was rather impressed. I almost felt like letting him in so he'd claim his long-awaited prize, but instead, I clapped in admiration before shuffling over to the dining room table, sat there quietly while the fire ravaged all my earthly possessions. I met the vampire's gaze through the window and watched him slump his shoulders in defeat. I'm your stepdad's life coach, and this has been another episode of Animalphax. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more factual animal facts. Have a wonderful animal day.